My favorite podcaster and intellectual, Lex Fridman, has Jeff Bezos on today. Wow. Quite the guest. Man. You know what's really depressing to me? And I hate to... You gotta be grateful, right? And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I have a place to live. I'm grateful that I got pulled off the streets. I'm grateful that I put in work to get here. I'm grateful that the government even cares about the fact that I was homeless to begin with. And you can call me a quitter, you can call me whatever the fuck you want. You're wrong. You know, I didn't quit. My unit never deployed. I didn't evade Iraq or Afghanistan. I wanted to go, and I didn't get to. And I was lied to. I was manipulated by people and treated poorly when I wanted to serve. So no wonder, you know. But at the same time, I'm not going to say that, you know, I'm a hero for doing what I did. I didn't go to war. I could have been. My unit had just gotten back from Afghanistan when I got to the unit. And my military occupational specialty was phased out when I got out of school. So, I mean, as you look at my paperwork, it says all-wheel mechanic. I was not an all-wheel mechanic. I was a 91 Delta power generation equipment repair specialist. That's not all-wheel mechanic. So, anyways, military's great. I love the military. I support it. I always have, always supported it. I hope the recruit sustainment, you know, goes up because, I mean, obviously we're at a time period where we're going to need less soldiers with the technology coming up, but soldiers are invaluable in the way that they think. They're heroic. They take action based on orders, not based on, you know, feelings, which is so important that people don't act on their feelings. If people acted on their feelings, there'd be a lot of dead motherfuckers in the world. So anyways, my point being, it's sad to me, what I was going to say is it's sad to me that I have a pretty great testimony. And not only am I ignored for interviews, but actively ignored for interviews. And it's not personal, especially when it comes between like Lex Fridman and I, because I was a little inappropriate in the way I presented myself to him. I was quite a bit inappropriate in the way I presented myself to him. I wanted to get sober, and I had reached out and said, please be my sponsor, because I want someone who matters, somebody that actually is making a difference in the world to care about my sobriety. And he didn't not agree to it, but he's a busy guy, and I'm pretty sure, based on the material that he was putting out, he was trying to support me the best way he could. And honestly, the videos he posted, they were so helpful. And I wouldn't attribute his content directly for my sobriety. Obviously, I attribute my own actions for my sobriety. And historically speaking, I've been sober. Historically speaking, I've been able to maintain jobs. I've been able to work and pay my taxes and be a good little citizen, right? I understand we're all working together in this thing. That being said, you know, it's sad to me that majority of inmates, ex-inmates, that are being interviewed, they're not like me. I'm not a dropout. I'm not a snitch. I'm not about that life either. You know that the gangs are being run by people in prison. Is that not a terrorist organization? I don't know. You tell me. I don't know what to think anymore. Because honestly, I get like coming up from the hood or coming up from low income, because that's what I came from. People don't treat you so good. Your whole life, you don't get treated so good. All right? Think about it. I didn't have a dad. I'm a young kid, growing up without a father, I got treated like shit all the time. And people who had dads, I was always jealous. But it wasn't all dog shit. And I did have choices I made along the way. Like, there was clear choices where I could have joined gangs, where I didn't. Where I could have committed crimes and I didn't. And where, you know, honestly, the reputation my father had directly affects the way I act today. Because how dishonorable is that to have a father who served in the DEA and fought against the war on drugs? A narc. Literally, my dad was a narc. And, you know, I can't fucking, there's no way I'm gonna let that shit take me down. No way. So when my brother tells me you can't stay sober for more than 24 hours, it's like, you gotta kick rocks, bro. You're done with me, you know, you're done in my life. And, anyways, this video I'm really just posting about, it's sad to me that good testimonials, tend to be ignored. And I wasn't perfect along my way. I never said I was. Even during my walk in Christ, I learned something very important. It was weird, but my mother and my son had said, if you keep Jesus in your heart, then everything will be okay when you get out. And so that's what I did. I studied my ass off about Jesus. And Larry used to always warn me. He said, are you doing it for her? Or are you doing it for yourself? I knew I was doing it for her. I wanted to get her back. I wanted to have my son in my life. I wanted to be a good father. Well, she didn't have the same ideology in mind. So when I got out and she treated me like a piece of shit, instead of realizing I used to be a piece of shit and straightening up my act, I decided to rebel and continue onto that path, putting me right into the revolving door of prison, right back in with another charge. Is it her fault? No, absolutely not. That's my fault. She treated me very poorly when I first got out. And she was married. She was remarried, you know, and she had her own stuff going on. I mean, honestly, I wasn't there to help. And I see a lot of bitterness between her and I back then. I came out on fire for Jesus, and then I condemned God when I realized I wasn't going to get her back. Until I realized that, you know, this isn't about having a relationship down here. It's not about, like, having a perfect marriage down here. It's beautiful when you see a 40-year marriage that works and that emulates the relationship between Jesus and the church. That's so beautiful. But it's so rare that at this point, I think we just need to call it as it is. You know? People fall short. They fall short time and time again. And I don't need forgiveness for anything. I've made the right moves. I've made the right calls, you know. I've navigated my way through life in a sense that people respect me and people trust me. And unfortunately, when people do shit like my brother does, where he's on the streets stealing, on the streets doing drugs, the streets doing no good. He's no good. And you can't associate with people like that and expect to be trusted. It's just not how it works, you know? After you turn 18, people look at you like a man or a woman. And at that point, you're a human being with choices. And those choices fucking matter. Look at Josh Giddey in the NBA. That was my dream, to be an NBA player. I wanted that so bad. I'm only like 5'9". Or sorry, 5'11". Never would have happened. I would have been like AI, possibly. And no way I was that talented, dude. I used to be a baller, but I'm not even going to lie to myself. Like, it's just no chance, you know? Those guys are at a different level competitively. And, but I still look at that and say, whoa, one of my dreams was fulfilled, and the guy had sex with a girl that was underage. That's fucking huge. I remember specifically, I had a moment in time back in the day where there was a girl who was like 16 and I was 19. And I even hung out with her at my house. We watched a movie. And I remember thinking about it because, you know, men are men. I didn't do it though. I told her, you gotta go home. Didn't even kiss her. And it's moments like that that I look back to and I say, thank God I'm not a piece of shit. Josh Giddey it is what it is, man. I'm not calling you like the worst child molester out there, but I mean, watch yourself, man. Because that age gap, it's disgusting. And at that point, it's very predator-like. You know, you should have more game than that, bro. You should have a lot more game than that. Sounds like you're fucking with the wrong type of girls. But, and especially that just reminds me of, like, back in the day when they used to do the whole ecstasy rave things. That was a huge thing back in the day with pedophilia. And I almost would be willing to bet that a lot of those people who are into underage girls are associated with that old type of ideology, selling ecstasy, selling, you know, throwing rave parties. It was all bullshit. It was all just a way to get young girls horny and take advantage of them. And women don't understand at that age what virginity is and why it's important. It's not like I'm not saying you're worthless without your V card. You're completely fine if you lose it before marriage, but you should value it unto marriage. That should be the case. Like, I remember being forced into sex when I was young. And not forced literally, but like people were like, why haven't you lost it? Are you gay? What the fuck's wrong with you? It's like, no, man, I'm just waiting for the right person, you know? And somewhere along the line, that became lame. But it's not. It's fucking beautiful to wait for the right person. And I mean, once you find the right person, you can have sex every day of your life if you want to 10 times a day. Who gives a shit? I wouldn't. That sounds really painful. But, I mean, either way, man, like, it's just, I'm so disappointed in humanity. And I'm not trying to make people feel scared. I think that you should fear God, if anything. You should fear the wrath of God. I would hate to see the poles switch because we're so evil down here. And I don't think that's a plan of God, but I would hate to see it happen. And that book that got banned by the CIA, that's a whole nother story. They released like 67 pages of it. Oh yeah, my bad. Not the CIA, CIA. And then, wait, if you want to say it grammatically correct, the Central Intelligence Agency. Yeah. We need to give our fucking boys a break, though. For real. Love you guys, man.